Alright, hi guys, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to share my whole visa experience with you. Exactly what happened, step by step, everything. Before I get into this video, I want to let you know that it was my first visa interview try. I never really, some people actually take it more than once. I took it just once, it happened, it cleared, it was simple, it was an easy process, alright? Nothing to worry about. So if you have your visa interview nearby or basically around the corner, watch this video to the end and I will make sure that you are already prepared for everything that you are going to face on the day of the interview. Alright, great. So let me actually begin with saying that this visa interview is actually your last step before you actually go on to the US. Alright, now this video is particularly for the students who are aiming for the US, because well, that's where I'm going and this is my experience, really, not more of an expert opinion, but this is all that I came to know, all that I came to understand by actually going through the process. Alright, great. So what was the first step? You book your visa interview, you book your dates and everything. Alright, this is by the way for the Delhi, I went to the Delhi consular, but in case you are going to any other place, don't worry about it, it's the same process. I am sure the logistics might differ, but the process remains the same. Alright, so my appointment was for 8:15 in the morning. The appointments start from 7:45 a.m. so they are basically distanced 15 minutes each from each other, right? So for instance, 7:45 was the first appointment, and then the next was 8 a.m. and then the next was 8:15 a.m. and so on. Alright, my appointment was of 8:15 a.m. Okay, so I reached around 8 a.m. but the thing is that they won't let you just go in. It isn't very punctual. It isn't exactly that, if your appointment is 8:15 then you'll go in. See, even for the 8:15 appointment, there must have been about 50 students who were actually going in for the F1 visa interview, and this is only for the F1 visa interview as far as I understood that. Alright, okay. So what they're gonna do first is that they will make you stand on the pavement. All of you, whether it's your parents or the students, whatever it is, you'll be standing on the pavement. Alright, that's the side of the road, right? And then what's gonna happen is that a queue is gonna form, a very long queue. Right, for instance, the first queue was for 7:45 batch, and then the next queue was for the 8 a.m. batch, but again it also included the 7:45 a.m. batch. Some people got late, so they can again join this queue. Right, so the whole queue forms, alright, on the road, and it's a pretty wide road, so it's not really an issue, but that is what the process is. Alright, it forms, and then you go into the basically you start going towards the building, which is where the visa officers are sitting. Alright, so you go over there and basically you'll be in the queue for pretty long, about 30-40 minutes, because there's so many people in there, alright, even before you. Okay, and the first thing that they're gonna ask you for is your passport. At this point they will ask you for your passport. They will check that you had your, by the way, alright, so before your visa interview you must have gone through this VAC appointment, or I'm not sure what they call it, but basically you had to give your fingerprints. Alright, this was on a separate day and not on the day of the visa interview. They already have your fingerprints. Alright, and when you actually go in for the day of the visa interview, then they'll take your fingerprints again, but that comes on later. First thing they're gonna check is that you have your passport, and on the passport there's basically a piece of paper that they kind of stuck when you got your fingerprints, they made you give your fingerprints to them, right? So they check that sheet of paper and then they'll let you in, just to make sure that you actually went through that process and you have already given in your fingerprints at the VAC appointment center. Right, now after that you will go in. Okay, the first thing that you will see is that they will ask you to take your passport and your I-20 in your hand. Also, you must have your SEVIS payment receipt in your hand. Alright, when you pay the SEVIS fee, I think that's about $200, you have to have that sheet of paper in your hand and you have to give that to the guy again. That is also important. Okay, so you need these three things. Alright, your SEVIS payment receipt, your passport, and your I-20. Alright, after that they will basically call you in one by one and they will basically take you to one of the there's a lot of booths. The first few booths that you go to, you will basically be giving your fingerprints. Alright, your fingerprints are taken again on the day of the visa interview. At this point you have not done anything, you have just shown your passport, you came into the building, you gave your fingerprints. Alright, you showed them your service fee payment receipt, that's all. Okay, Now this whole process is done, alright, your fingerprints are done. Now you are actually going in towards the main booths where you will see those you know, VOs or whatever you like to call them, visa officers. They are sitting, all right. There's a whole lot of these you know, booths, about I think I would say 15 of them in that room where I went, in the Delhi consulate at least, all right. So one by one, you know, basically you'll again be in one more queue, and then one by one, as the people free up, you will be waiting. For instance, I went to counter number 13, all right. Now the guy who was actually giving the interview, he was in front of me, all right. Like there's a little bit of distance, all right, like let's say about 10 feet of distance. He was giving his interview and he was standing with the standing in front of the VO, all right. But because there was no next guy in front of like after him that had to go after him, they sent me in, and they sent me in basically, you know, I would be standing about 10 feet behind him after he is done with the interview. So basically there's someone always standing behind you who is going to take the interview next after you, all right. So that's what happens, and you will again be in that position as well. By the way, some people are really concerned about what kind of clothes you want to wear. Some people would overdress, and I don't know, it just shows that you're very worried about the interview, or maybe you just want to be formal. It's good, but this is what I was wearing on the day of the interview, all right. It was today itself, but this was what I was wearing, and there was no issue. Alright, I wore a simple jeans with this, nothing fancy, alright. Didn't dress up, didn't really get the time in the morning. I just wore this thing. People were so dressed up over there. You don't need to do that. Just be sure that you are confident, you are presentable. Just prepare a few questions. Let me tell you what the visa interviewer asked me, what the officer asked me, and what I replied. Right, my interview lasted less than 45 seconds. I think less than 45 seconds. I'm pretty sure it was less than that. Right, my visa interviewer was an kind of an Asian guy, right, in his mid-20s, I would say 25, 26, something like that. Right, and the first thing when I got to him, he asked me for my I-20 and my passport. At this point, I passed these documents to him. Alright, I wished him good morning, and that was it. Alright, so the first question that he asked me is, alright, which university is this for? I tell him that this is university, I'm going to USC, so I told him University of Southern California. Alright, he's like, alright, and which other universities did you apply to? That was his second question. Okay, now at this point, by the way, you do not have to answer the truth. Now if you guys know me, if you guys know that I applied to about 10 university, I believe, and I got admits from 6 of them, but I didn't want to tell him all of that. Alright, I just told him that I applied to 5 universities. He didn't ask me if I got admits from any of them. He just asked me, why USC then? After you applied to 5 universities, why USC? Of course, at this point I didn't tell him about my other admits. I just told him that I am looking for a research-based program, and one of the professors at the university that I have been following for a long time he already has his research group which is focused on social media research, and that's what I want to do. And there's a very few universities which have such a focused group on social media research, and that's my field. Right, that's what I told him. Alright, and he's like, alright. I was gonna say something more, but then he was satisfied with the answer, so I just be direct. You don't have to write essays over there. You don't have to tell him the whole story. Just tell him in 1 or 2 lines, and that's it. Even he doesn't have the time. Trust me, you keep this interview shorter the better. Alright, I told him the answer, and the next question, and I think that's a mandatory question, it's gonna be asked by almost every interviewer out there, is how are you going to finance your education? Alright, now at this point I was gonna give him the answer. I actually told him, alright, we have savings of this much. Alright, and before I actually told him about my loan, he asked me my parents' income. Right, he cut me off. He asked me their income. I told him their income, and their combined income, basically combined annual income, and then it was done. He didn't ask me about one more thing that he asked me was what do my parents do. Before actually asking for the income, he asked me what do my parents do. So I told him that my mom does this, my dad is this. Alright, so basically after that he asked me their combined income. I told him, and that was it. Alright, that was the whole interview. The next thing he said was that, alright, I'm approving your visa. He kept my passport with him. The passport is with him. That means that the visa has been approved. Alright, now understand this. This interview was so short. Trust me, I have given you every single question. There was nothing out of the syllabus over here. I had all of my documents, my GRE scores, my TOEFL scores, you know, financial documents, loan. I never even mentioned the loan. Think about this. Never even had to mention the loan. Alright, of course, I'm not saying that you should not do that. I would have done that, but he cut me off. You know, he just wanted to, I think, get to know the answer of some other question, and he didn't really cut me off. I mean, I was gonna say it, but then, you know, he just kind of came in to the picture out of nowhere, right? So it's not really important. Just be confident. All right, when I answered the questions, I wasn't nervous at all. I was not nervous at all. All right, now I don't know how to tell you this, but I just wasn't nervous for some reason. I wasn't scared. I just thought that, all right, it's gonna be fine. I mean, it's not that I didn't care about the interview. It's just that I thought that even if I don't get it, maybe I'll apply again, or, you know, there's so many other alternatives. My life doesn't depend on it. So make sure that you don't get so nervous that you answer wrong, or because I saw a couple of people who were answering the questions wrong, and then they were, you know, kind of correcting them, and the interviews lasted for longer durations. Of course, they may have gotten the visa, but I don't know. All right, I think that if you keep it shorter, it's better. All right, and my interview was for about 40-45 seconds. That's it. He said, you know, I'm approving your visa. I said thank you to him, and then I left. Okay, so this was the whole interview experience. I believe it should help you if you are looking to go for an F1 visa interview, or really any kind of visa interview. Just make sure that you are confident, you prepare the standard questions. Alright, now there's a whole lot of other questions, whole lot of other documents that I had, you know, my GPA, my basically affiliation to the university that I'm studying in. Some other questions that you know, they were asking other applicants that I heard were, when did you graduate and what have you been doing since then. Right, so all of these questions are very common. These get asked in almost every visa interview. Alright, my case was, I guess, special. I got asked about a total of 4 questions, and that was it. He approved it. He didn't wanna know about my loan. So I don't know how these guys do it, but, you know, like I'm saying, this is my experience. I'm not an expert on this, and I'm just telling you that be confident, be calm, be cool, and it'll be all right. Don't listen to whatever others say, you know, when you're so by the way, I kind of missed out on one step. I want to tell you about it right now. Alright, sorry about that. I kind of just slipped out of my head. But the thing is that once you check your passport in, and, you know, show them your passport at the beginning, when you show them the passport and then you're going into the building, the one more thing that happens that I kind of forgot to tell you about was that they frisk you. They basically check all of your, you know, with metal detectors and everything. They will get to know if there's even the slightest of metal in your anything that you're wearing. All right, and they also check your, you know, basically you have to take off your belt, your watch, anything that you're wearing. You have to take it off, and you have to, you know, kind of pass it in through the X-ray machine or whatever it is. Like, you know, they just check it, that they make sure that there's nothing illegal in there. Right, and after that you will go into a room basically, where you'll have 5 rows of seats or something like that. You just sit in one of the rows. All right, and then one by one each of these rows will basically, you know, be called in, and then you will go in for that fingerprinting process, and then again the visa interview. So yeah, I kind of missed this small detail, but trust me, it's not relevant at all. It's not even important. The only thing that I want you to take away from this video is that was how simple the interview was. The main part of this, the meat of this video, is the part that, you know, my visa interview, where you have to be confident. You have to be basically, you know, believing in yourself that this is why I'm going. I'm not doing anything illegal, and just talk to them just like another normal interview. Nothing to be scared of. All right, so great. I think that's all I would like to mention in this video, the whole visa interview experience. I hope you liked it, and if any of you were, you know, are going, or if any of you had the same kind of experience, post them down below, because I'm sure that this will help a lot of people. Anyone's experience, you know how important it is. I mean, before you actually went in, I'm sure you actually saw hundreds of those, you know, read hundreds of those texts which had this, you know, those visa officers and this person, this whole interview experience kind of, you know, written down in this. So it's important that you do your part as well and help these people out who are watching this video. Whatever it is, just mention your experiences down in the comments below and make sure that you contribute. Alright, great to see you, and I hope to see you next time. I know this is not really my usual setup. I'm actually home, and I used to shoot in my hostel, but now I'm home for about a month, 1.5 months before I actually leave for the US. So this is how it's gonna be for now. Hope to see you in the next video. If, by the way, one more thing I want to tell you here is that the website YMGrad is up. There are no more WhatsApp groups. If the WhatsApp groups are full, there's nothing I'm going to be doing, but YMGrad is up. Alright, www.ymgrad.com. You go onto this website, you sign up, you can see the admits and rejects of the people. You can see which guys got into which university, alright, which university they applied into, when did they apply, and when they got the decision. Basically their whole profile, their GRE scores, TOEFL scores, IELTS scores, LSAT, MCAT, whatever it is, right, their GPA, their university name, their resume, everything. You can see all of that, right? And then for the universities, you can see that, based on whether you are going for an engineering based program, medicine based program, law or business based program, you can see exactly what kind of statistics the average applicant shows to get into that university. The website is up now, so I request you to actually go on, try it out, check it out. Alright, it's all free. Most of it is free. Alright, some of the information is paid, but most of it is free. Alright, and you ask your questions over there. My team will personally answer that. Alright, any question answered by my ID is from my team or from me personally. Or you ask your questions in the forum and I will personally help you out with whatever issues you're facing. Okay, this gives us a whole new platform. Alright, we can help more people, we can reach more people with this. Alright, if you are facing the same problem and you used to message me on Instagram, I would reply, I would try to message, answer your questions. Well, it's not really that easy anymore, okay, because then I would be answering the same question for 10 people. This time what you can do is you can just post your question over there. I'll post the answer for you. Whatever issue you're facing, I'll answer it below, and hopefully a lot more people can benefit from it. Alright, and yeah, that's about it. I hope to see you in the next video. I'm sure you will like the website. Dude, just go check it out, because it's been like crazy. We have worked through this website for months now and it's finally live. I really want you to be a part of this. Okay, hope to see you in there, and all the best.